All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into the mind of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
More specifically, his take on work ethic.
Okay.
We've got this really interesting YouTube video,
Uh-huh.
and it's not your typical, like,
Right. Yeah.
hustle harder,
Yeah.
rah-rah.
It's a little bit darker.
It gets pretty raw.
A little more raw, yeah.
Yeah, he really doesn't
Yeah.
sugarcoat it.
No.
The sacrifices, involved with building companies like SpaceX and Tesla.
It's fascinating to kind of hear his perspective on what it really takes.
Let's kick things off with his work ethic.
Okay.
Now, we've all heard the stories, 80, 100-hour weeks,
Yeah.
sleeping at the office,
Mm-hmm.
basically becoming one with the company.
Yeah.
Is this just startup grind, or is there something more to it?
Well, it's definitely a hallmark of the startup world, especially in those early make-or-break stages.
Right.
But with Musk, there's this added layer of urgency.
Okay.
It's like he's racing against time
Uh-huh.
to achieve his goals.
Right, because he's got a lot of them.
He does.
So let's rewind a little bit. Back in
Okay.
2008,
Yeah.
SpaceX just had 3
Oh,
failed rocket launches in a row.
brutal.
Tesla's on the verge of bankruptcy.
Right.
He's almost broke. I mean, this is
It's really interesting because it shows,
a defining moment.
the emotional toll
Yeah.
that entrepreneurship can take.
Totally.
Like you pour your heart and soul
Yeah.
into these ventures,
Yeah.
and to see them just teetering on the brink of collapse.
And, they talk about the analogy of the companies being like children,
Oh, yeah.
and he's got to make this decision of whether to
flip the money.
split the funds and risk both,
Yeah.
or save one and let the other die.
Which one?
I mean,
It's like Sophie's Choice almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that analogy?
It's a powerful way to illustrate
Yeah.
the emotional investment.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just about money for him.
Right.
It was about saving these children that he had created.
So he splits the funds,
He does.
borrows money from friends,
Yeah.
somehow pushes forward.
Right.
It's the never give up attitude.
Yep. And he has that famous quote
Yeah.
where he says, "I don't ever give up.
Right.
I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated."
Yeah.
That level of determination
Yeah.
is pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
It
but
makes you think about...
but it does raise questions about sustainability.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not everybody can or should follow that path,
Right.
but it's just so fascinating
Yeah.
to see how that kind of shaped his approach.
Totally.
This leads us to this principle of signal over noise.
Okay.
What does he mean by signal over noise?
Basically, it's about focusing on what truly matters
Okay.
and cutting out the distractions.
You see this in Tesla.
Okay.
Like, they've never spent money
Right.
on traditional advertising.
You don't need to.
They believe that a great product will speak for itself.
Right.
So they pour all their resources
Right.
into product improvement.
So it's like prioritizing the core value
Exactly.
over all the hype and the noise.
Like cutting through the noise.
Yeah.
Get to the signal.
And that's valuable for anybody, not
Yeah.
just entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah,
Anybody trying to achieve a goal.
I think so.
Figure out what's important and get rid of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Now, even with the clearest vision, you
Right.
can't do it alone.
No, you can't.
So he puts a huge emphasis on building a team of really talented individuals.
He's got to surround himself with the best.
He says, all a company is a group of people gathered to create a product or service.
Right.
It's really echoing what a lot of other leaders talk about.
Yeah.
It's that talent acquisition
Right.
is so crucial.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with the right people.
Right.
People that share your passion and your dedication.
But it's not just about finding those talented people.
Right.
It's creating an environment
Yeah.
where they can thrive and give their best work.
Totally.
So how does he do that?
Well, one way is that he actively encourages criticism.
Really?
Yeah, even from his friends.
Huh, that's interesting.
He believes that a well-thought-out critique is as valuable as gold.
Oh, wow. He really?
He says,
Right.
your friends usually know what's wrong,
Right.
but they just don't want to tell you
Right.
because they don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So he's basically saying the best feedback comes from,
The people who care enough to be honest,
yeah,
even if it's not what we want to hear.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's crucial for growth
Yeah.
and improvement.
So we've got the work ethic.
Right.
We've got the focus on signal.
Yeah.
We've got this emphasis on talent. These seem to be like the foundational elements
Yeah, the core principles.
of his approach to building these companies.
Uh-huh.
But let's zoom out a little bit
Right.
and talk about the grander vision
Right.
for humanity,
Okay.
particularly his
Yeah.
fascination with Mars.
Okay.
So now we're moving away from entrepreneurship
Yeah.
to something much bigger.
Right.
It's this idea of becoming a multi-planetary species.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
He really believes that
Because it does.
establishing a self-sustaining colony on Mars
Mm-hmm.
is key.
It's not just a sci-fi fantasy for...
Yeah, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
But why Mars?
Well, in the video, he talks about
Yeah.
various threats
Yeah.
that are facing humanity on Earth.
Okay.
Climate change,
Mm-hmm.
resource depletion,
Okay.
the potential for catastrophic events,
Yeah.
asteroid impacts,
Right.
pandemics.
Yeah, all this stuff.
So he sees Mars as a sort of insurance policy,
Mm-hmm.
like a backup plan for the human race.
So it's not just about exploration
No,
or adventure.
it's deeper than that.
It's about ensuring the continuation of our species.
Right.
That's a bold perspective.
It is.
And he wants to do this within the next decade.
yeah, the timeline is ambitious.
Pretty crazy to think about, like, the technological and logistical challenges.
Yeah.
Creating a habitable environment
Food, water, shelter.
on a different planet.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to get people there.
Yeah.
And equipment.
It's a monumental undertaking.
Millions of miles.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But just the fact that we're having this conversation
Why not?
is a testament to human ingenuity.
It really does make you wonder
Yeah.
what we're capable of achieving when we set our minds to it.
It is inspiring.
That's what's so compelling about this guy.
Yeah.
He's not just building companies.
You're pushing boundaries.
He's pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
of what we believe is possible.
I agree.
And he's challenging us to rethink
Yeah.
our place in the universe.
Yeah, and speaking of pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
let's talk about another area where he's really making waves.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because, it's not all Mars colonies
Right.
and,
Yeah.
rocket launches with this guy.
Yeah.
He also has some
Yeah.
surprisingly down-to-earth advice for young people
Yeah.
just starting out.
Yeah, in the video,
Okay.
he encourages them to focus on
Yeah.
doing something useful,
Okay.
even if it doesn't change the world
Okay.
on a grand scale.
Right.
He uses the example of improving photo sharing,
Okay.
which doesn't sound
I'd say
as
that.
groundbreaking as
Oh.
colonizing Mars.
But it's still creating something valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's kind of challenging this idea
Uh-huh.
that impact has to be massive
Yeah.
or world-altering
To be meaningful.
to be meaningful.
So it's not necessarily about aiming for these
Right.
huge, ambitious goals.
Right.
Right out of the gate.
It's about
It's a right.
finding that intersection
Yeah.
between your passions
Yeah.
and what you're good at.
Seeing where it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this brings us back to that concept of exceptional ability
Right.
that Musk often talks about.
Okay.
He believes that everyone has unique talents and abilities,
Okay.
and it's about finding the right outlet for them.
He uses this interesting analogy of eating glass and staring into the abyss
Right?
to describe
I'm reading.
the experience of starting a company.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
So it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
It takes a lot of resilience.
Yeah, a willingness to embrace
Yeah.
discomfort and uncertainty,
Thoughtfully.
and a deep-seated belief
Yeah.
in your vision.
In your vision. And he definitely knows about facing challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, think about those early days.
Right, those early rocket launch failures.
Yeah.
Yeah, those could have easily derailed
Oh, totally.
a whole venture.
Yeah.
But instead of giving up,
Right.
he used those as learning opportunities.
Yeah. Failing forward.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's one thing to talk about resilience.
Right.
But it's another thing to actually embody it
Yeah.
when you're staring down failure.
Yeah, and this brings us back to the Mars colony.
Okay.
Remember that comparison to Shackleton's Antarctic expedition?
Uh-huh.
It highlights the inherent risks
Right.
involved in pursuing
Yeah.
bold, ambitious goals.
Right.
And Musk acknowledges that establishing a Mars colony
Yeah.
would be dangerous, difficult,
Right.
and with a high probability of things going wrong.
It makes you think about
Yeah.
what drives someone to take
Yeah.
on those risks.
What's the motivation there?
Yeah, what's going on in his mind?
I think a lot of it comes back to that deep-seated belief in his vision.
Okay.
He's not just doing it for personal gain
Right.
or glory.
Right. It's bigger than that.
He believes it's essential,
Right. Almost like a duty.
a responsibility,
Yeah, like a responsible
to use his talents and resources
Yeah.
to address this threat.
This existential threat. That's a
Yeah.
powerful motivator.
It is.
Okay, so we talked about his approach to work,
Right.
talked about the resilience, talked
Yeah.
about the vision for the future, but there's another piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
His views on AI.
Right.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
This is where it gets tricky.
Because it's complex.
It is.
And nuanced.
Yeah.
On one hand,
Yeah.
he sees the potential
to solve problems,
yeah,
enhance human capabilities.
But on the other hand,
yeah,
he's got these concerns about the dangers.
Right, if it's not developed responsibly.
So he's not
yeah.
anti-AI.
He's not anti-AI.
He's worried about
responsible AI development.
Yeah.
He's even compared
yeah.
the threat of unregulated AI
right.
to that of nuclear weapons.
Wow.
He thinks it could pose a greater threat than any other technology we've created.
That's a bold statement.
It is.
So it really speaks to how concerned he is.
Yeah, about the potential for malicious use.
And he gives some chilling examples of how existing technology could be used to create these autonomous weapons.
That swarm of assassin drones.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like a self-directed weapons system.
For a low cost.
Yeah, pretty unsettling.
Sounds like something out of a movie.
It does.
Right.
It does.
Like a sci-fi.
But that's the thing about AI.
Yeah.
It's blurring those lines
Wait.
between science fiction and reality.
Yeah.
And Musk is urging us to think critically about this before it's too late.
So how do we mitigate the risks?
Well, he believes one way is through democratization of the technology.
Okay.
So not concentrating it in the hands of a few powerful entities.
So kind of spreading it out.
Yes, spreading it out.
More access.
Make sure it's guided by ethical principles.
And serves humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
Not just a select few.
Right.
So this is where OpenAI comes in. Right.
Yeah.
He's involved in this.
It's interesting because it contrasts with his other ventures.
Which are much more commercial.
Which are, like profit-driven.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit different.
But it speaks to this broader concern
Totally.
for humanity.
It's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about the societal and ethical.
Yeah, so he's almost trying to like anticipate.
Yeah, get ahead of the curve.
And address these potential challenges.
Totally.
Now this leads us to another fascinating part of his thinking.
Right.
The human-AI symbiote.
Oh, yeah.
This is Neuralink.
Neuralink.
Brain-computer interfaces.
Yeah.
That's pretty radical.
It is pretty radical.
He believes that by connecting our minds to AI, we can essentially merge with it.
Yeah, creating a hybrid intelligence.
That combines the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So he's basically proposing a solution to this dilemma of how to ensure AI is aligned
with human values.
With human values.
Yeah.
Now, the whole idea of putting chips in our brains, it does sound very...
Yeah, very sci-fi.
Sci-fi, right.
But the technology is actually pretty sophisticated.
So tell me about that.
So they're developing something called a neural lace.
Okay.
Which is a super thin mesh of electrodes that can be implanted
on the brain.
directly on the brain.
And allowing for communication.
Yeah, high bandwidth communication.
Between our neurons and devices.
Yeah, so it's not just about enhancing our abilities.
Right.
It's about creating this seamless interface.
Between our minds and the digital world.
Right, and that raises questions about identity and consciousness.
What does it mean to be human?
Exactly.
Yeah, with all this tech.
In an age of advanced technology.
It's a lot to think about.
It is mind-bending.
And he believes it could be crucial.
Yeah. He argues that
our future,
as AI advances,
yeah,
we'll need to keep pace.
Yeah.
And that might mean merging with it.
It's almost like he's saying,
right,
if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, but instead of a hostile takeover,
right,
it's more of a symbiotic relationship.
Where both sides benefit.
Yeah.
This brings us back to this theme of taking risks.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries.
Embracing the unknown.
Yeah, he's a firm believer in seizing the moment.
Yeah.
Pursuing those bold ideas.
Challenging the status quo.
Yeah, even if they seem crazy at first.
And he encourages others to do the same.
He does, he says. Yeah. Now is the time to take risks.
Yeah.
Do something bold, you won't regret it.
And he's not just talking the talk.
He's walking the walk.
He risked all.
He did.
To start these companies.
SpaceX and Tesla.
That so many people thought were going to fail.
Yeah.
But he had the belief.
Yeah, he had that unwavering belief.
Yeah.
The drive. Oh, yeah. The willingness to push through.
And look at him now.
Yeah.
Revolutionizing space.
Yeah.
Transitioning to sustainable energy.
Pushing the boundaries of AI.
It's amazing.
It's really something else.
It's a testament to...
Yeah.
Bold thinking.
Relentless action.
Not letting fear hold you back.
Exactly.
Pretty inspiring stuff, huh?
It is. It makes you think.
Yeah.
What are we capable of?
Right. And he emphasizes that It's not just about achieving success on this grand scale.
It's not always about the big flashy stuff.
Yeah, it's
about finding that thing.
Yeah, finding the
that you're passionate.
You're driven to solve.
That problem that you
just go after it.
Yeah, regardless of the outcome.
Remember what he said about finding something useful to do?
Yeah, it's a good reminder. That impact doesn't always have to be flashy or world-changing.
Right. Sometimes it's those quiet efforts.
Right.
That might go unnoticed, but make a real difference.
Yeah.
It's about leaving the world a little bit better.
It is.
Then you found it.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear him say that.
Yeah.
You know, with him tackling these massive existential challenges.
It's like, it's grounding.
Yeah.
You hear that?
That he acknowledges those smaller acts of service.
Yeah, it makes him seem more human.
More human, yeah.
Right.
Less like this larger than life.
It's a message that resonates with a lot of people.
I think so.
I think so.
Regardless of their aspirations.
It's about finding that niche where our passions and skills align.
And that ties back to his own motivation.
What drives him?
Yeah, he's driven by this desire to solve problems that affect the future of humanity.
Whether it's climate change,
Tesla,
human survival,
SpaceX, Neuralink.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
It's not just about building companies for profit.
It's about using his talents and resources.
Yeah, to make difference.
To address these grand challenges.
And that's what sets him apart.
Yeah.
From other entrepreneurs.
It's that sense of urgency.
It's like a mission for him.
It's like a mission.
He feels this responsibility to use his position to make a positive impact.
It's admirable.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
But you think about it.
And it brings us back to that quote about taking risks.
Do something bold.
You won't regret it.
Yeah, it's a call to action.
It is. It's easy to get comfortable.
It is.
Play it safe.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, yeah.
But he's challenging us.
To step outside those boundaries.
Embrace the unknown.
Pursue those dreams that seem crazy.
And he's a living example of what happens when you do that.
He is. I mean,
Stag.
Tesla. Those were huge risks.
And he had that unwavering belief.
He had the drive.
And look at him now.
He's achieved amazing things.
It's all about that bold thinking.
Taking those calculated risks.
Not letting fear hold you back.
Exactly.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener?
What bold action will you take?
What risk are you willing to take?
To bring your own vision to life.
I think we just scratched the surface.
We just scratched the surface of Elon Musk's world.
But hopefully this deep dive
gave you some food for thought.
We gave you some inspiration.
Maybe some courage to take that leap of faith.
Pursue those dreams.
Yeah.
It's not about being the next Elon Musk.
No.
It's about tapping into that potential.
Right, that potential within yourself.
To make a difference.
To make a difference in your own way.
In your own way.
Doesn't matter how big or small.
Because ultimately, it's not about the destination.
It's about the journey.
It's about embracing those challenges.
Learning from the setbacks.
Never giving up.
Keep that spark of possibility alive.
That's it for our deep dive.
Into the world of Elon Musk.
Hope you found it insightful.
And inspiring.
As we did.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.
Keep exploring.
Keep those minds curious.